Today I fucked up by telling my wife I started working out so I could lift her again. When my wife and I met, she was about 135 pounds and I was 200 lb. She's 5 feet 8 inches and I'm 6. I was very active and went to the gym 5x a week back then so I could pick her up and toss her around easily. That was 10 plus years ago. Since then, I had a health issue that made me lose 25 lb. I'm better now, but I obviously also lost a lot of strength from that. We've also had 2 kids, so obviously my wife put on some weight from that and wasn't able to lose it all after like she wanted to. My wife now weighs 160 pounds and I want to make it very clear that I absolutely love it. That extra 25 pounds went to all the right places, if you know what I mean. I do not think she's fat or overweight, I have never said that, or even joked about it. I think she's the sexiest woman alive. So earlier this year, our youngest started school, so we finally had 100% alone time at home for the first time in years. Neither of us have family nearby. So we started messing around throughout the house, just like we did before kids. But I noticed I couldn't lift, carry, or toss her the same way I did when we met. So I decided it's time to hit the gym again since it's been years and I only weighed 175. I've been working out for 6 months, gained about 10 pounds already, and got a lot stronger. My wife noticed the muscle gain and we started talking about working out and she asked why I decided to start again out of nowhere. So without thinking about how it sounds, I told her exactly why man facepalming. In my head, she's perfect, and me struggling to lift her is my problem, not hers. But obviously she sees it differently. She's not super pissed or anything, but I can tell she's a bit bummed about it. She's a confident woman and she'll be just fine in a day or two, but I should have worded it differently or just made up a different reason when she asked lol. Too long did not read. Wife gained a few pounds after pregnancies. I lost weight and strength due to a health issue a few years back, so I was struggling to lift, carry her. I started working out to be able to lift her easier and accidentally told her that's why I started working out. Just reiterate that you want to have the strength of your youth back, and when you can curl and bench what you used to, you'll have the confidence to sweep her off her feet again. In my head, she's perfect, and me struggling to lift her is my problem, not hers. As long as you told her this, and didn't just think it, I don't see the foo. You were honest, and the issue isn't really an issue at all. You want to spend more quality time with her. Your intentions are good. Hopefully she'll come around and realize that. She won't forget it tomorrow. Lol. I would stress how much you love her curves and don't want her to change. Maybe if you added about you losing muscle and wanted to get stronger. Reminds me of something I saw once. A guy is talking with his wife or girlfriend and a group of people and he said something or other. I don't remember exactly, but from her body language you can see it doesn't hit her right. And immediately he turns to her and wraps her in his arms. He says, "Baby," when I say something, and you can interpret it in 2 ways, and one of those makes you cry. You know I mean it the other way. You know that, right? You know me. And he kisses her. It was beautiful, like a Hollywood intimate moment, but in real life. I didn't know them, but they did seem to genuinely care about each other. I wonder sometimes about them. I really like that sentiment. It sounds like your intentions were 100% in the right place, but I get how that might have come off differently to her. You clearly love her and just want to be stronger for those playful moments you two share. Maybe just reassure her again that you find her as sexy and attractive as ever and that this is more about you wanting to feel like your old self again, not about her weight. A little extra sweetness and reassurance should smooth things over. Firstly, just a teen, but this may just be the most wholesome post I've read here. So happy to see you love your wife so much. I'm sure she won't think a lot as long as you said all those words. Hope both of you the best. Today I fucked up by not even making it to my interview. I had an interview today from 9-11 at a company about 50 minutes away from my house. I was planning to be out the door by 7:45 so I could stop for some coffee. I couldn't find my purse, so I was leaving 15 minutes late. Then about 4 minutes in I realized I forgot my resume and had to turn around to get it, so I would just barely make it on time. Then on the highway, my GPS told me to take the express lane, and while I was on there I missed a lane change, and ended up on the wrong highway, and it'll take an extra 16 minutes to get there. 15 minutes late is bad, but not that bad, I could recover from that. But then when I get to the place my GPS was directing me, I realized I put in the wrong address. I was in the right city, but the place was a little more than 20 minutes away. I pull over at this point. I am sobbing and my makeup is a mess. I call my dad asking what to do. He says call them, so I do. I have to dig though handshake to find the number, and when so do call, it's the after hours machine. I'm crying even more at this point. I can't get in contact with anyone. I look like a mess, and the only point of showing up at this point is to make all the other candidates look better by comparison. If I went I'd be an hour late at least. I just went home. Too long did not read. Everything that could go wrong, went wrong, and I didn't even make it to my interview. That's rough, but there will be other interviews. Next time, have everything prepared the night before, especially for a morning interview, so you can just grab and go. I think the wildest thing about this is thinking you could grab coffee in between. Even if it took you only 15 minutes, that gives you 10 minutes to get to your interview location, park, and get inside. Early is on time and on time is late, fam. I mean, this isn't just one silly mistake. It's a whole cluster of mistakes that the employer definitely wouldn't want to hear. For future you, organization is incredibly important. Like setting up all your necessary documents, wallet, keys in one area for the next morning. Pre-planning the address via Google Maps to mentally prepare yourself for the route and any hiccups. It's also better to be early by 1 hour and just sit in your car to go over your resume than be close to late. For important appointments, if I'm not familiar with the location, I will drive there prior to the interview so I know where I'm going. Maybe I'm an overachiever, but I've never been turned down for a job. Learn your lesson and try again. You are toast as soon as you plan to leave with 0 minutes to spare. In the future, I highly suggest driving to the area a day before so you know the way. Also, would help to prepare everything by the door the night before. Nerves get to us all, and I always try to make everything as foolproof as I can the morning of. Today I fucked up by letting my girlfriend use my computer while I was gone for a week. Edit. It's not really relevant to the story, but just for clarity of discussion, how to refer to me: we are lesbians, I am 30F and she is 24F. The fuck up on my part happened a week ago, but the consequences only really became clear today. A week ago, I left on a week-long business trip, my first trip since moving in with my girlfriend a few weeks previously. My girlfriend does enjoy video games from time to time, but I am much more the gamer TM in the relationship, with the several $1,000 PC, 2 monitors, big desk, the works. She typically just plays on her laptop or Switch. Before the move, we played a few multiplayer games together on my computer, including some Baldur's Gate 3, local co-op, which she'd enjoyed a moderate amount. Before I left on my trip, I decided to set up my computer with a guest account for her just in case she wanted to play The Sims in 4K or something while I was gone. From the way she was talking when I mentioned it, it didn't seem like she was that interested. I set it up anyway because you never know. It was only when I realized she was texting me at 3 a.m. local time while she normally goes to bed at 11 p.m. or earlier that I may have made a slight mistake. I came back from my trip yesterday evening, and while before this she was perfectly content to just let me spend my free time on my computer, it's clear that now she wants to spend her free time on my computer as well, because Baldur's Gate 3 has consumed her mind and her laptop can't really run it. She put like 50 hours into it in 5 days, and she does have a job. Whenever I'm on my computer, she's just hanging out waiting for me to let her back on, not manipulatively or anything. She's just the type who likes to focus on one thing to completion, so she's bored by anything that isn't Baldur's Gate 3 right now. So now instead of one computer addict and one computer, the apartment now has 2 computer addicts and 1 computer. Oh well, at least we have one more thing in common. Too long did not read. Gave girlfriend access to my gaming computer while I'm away. She becomes more of a gaming addict than I am. Still love her though. I think you will be building a second PC soon. That being said, co-op games are even better than a single-player game. Now imagine being 14 years old and having a 12-year-old brother. It's the early 2000s and you are trying to explain to your parents why you need a second PC. She told me to post this, by the way, while staring at me from the couch and trying to psychically will me to go to bed. Welp, nothing for it but to build yourself a nicer gaming PC and do a co-op run through of BG3. Them's the rules. You are going to have to build her a gaming PC. Accept that. It is your fault. It's always Baldur's Gate 3. Today I fucked up by announcing my separation from my spouse. This did not happen today, but just about a year ago. At the time, my wife and I were married for about a year. My wife and I have very opposite interests, but we both support each other in the things that the other loves. For example, I love going to different conventions, dressing up in costume, meeting celebrities, and checking out the unique merchandise that is sold. My wife is a big football fan, and will never miss a game if she can help it. My wife will come to conventions with me and I'll watch the games with her, and occasionally we make it to one in person. A lot of people have questioned our dynamic because of our interests. To distill it down simply, I was a theater kid who wrote for the school newspaper and she played softball and loves football. People asked how on earth we fit together, even my mother, but we balance each other very well and I can't see myself with anyone else. My wife pointed out to me at one point that even if my interests aren't her thing, she loves that when I do my favorite things, the fact that I want her to be a part of them speaks volumes about how I feel about her, and I feel the same way. On to the fuck up. Last year we attended a game for her favorite NFL team. Her dad bought tickets for the entire family and invited us to get there early to tailgate in the parking lot. As we were getting ready, my wife stated that as we would be grilling in the parking lot and going through a crowded stadium, it might be prudent to leave our wedding rings at home. Earlier in the year, a stone fell out of mine when we were on vacation, and I searched for an hour before finding it. So I agreed with her. I jokingly asked her what we should say if anyone asks why we're not wearing our rings. My wife rolled her eyes and said nobody would notice that. I said that someone was bound to notice it and we need to come up with something funny to say. We decided that if anyone asked, we would whisper, "Well, we're working on things," and just leave it at that. Well, we arrived, had a great time, and nobody said anything. We posted several group photos to Facebook and Instagram along with photos of us grilling in the parking lot. About 10 minutes later, my mother texted me, "Why aren't you guys wearing your wedding rings in the photo you put up on Facebook?" I showed it to my wife, and we both cracked up laughing. So I sent the following back, "Well, we're trying to work on things, but the tickets were already purchased, so." We had a good laugh, forgot about it, headed inside, and had a great time. Cue the end of the game. We headed out to our car, waited in the queue to get out, and then began to drive home. About 5 minutes into the trip, notifications start going off on my phone. I hadn't realized that the stadium had terrible cell service, was essentially a dead zone, and didn't bother to connect to the stadium Wi-Fi. I know you're kidding, but please confirm that for me. It's really not funny to joke about. I'm very nervous about you guys. What does that mean you're working on things? Why aren't you wearing your rings? Please pick up your phone. This is not too weak to do this to me. I am freaking out right now. Why aren't you answering your phone? By the time I called to assure her that I had simply been joking, she had already called multiple relatives freaking out that my wife and I were splitting up and I wasn't answering the phone. When they heard the details, everyone else thought it was pretty hilarious. My mother, however, did not, and is still angry that we pulled that on her. TL. Doctor posted photos without our wedding rings on social media. Led my mother to believe we were breaking up and due to no service, she didn't find out it was a joke until 6 hours later. I never get this. I don't wear my ring at the house during the day. My wife barely wears hers because her job is dangerous to wear a ring at. And yet when we first got married, my mom and grandma, independently, asked to see my ring and I took it off and handed it to them to see. They both went, "No, no, no, you don't have to do that." Like, I'm still married guys. It's a ring. I'm sorry, but you didn't mess up here, your mom did. It's not her place to call others about your relationship, or to spread that information, which for all she knew was private, to others. I'd be having a really deep conversation with my mother about this. Maybe you guys are the kind of family that's always up in each other's lives and so it's more natural for you guys. I'm not sure, but I view this as a huge breach of trust. It doesn't matter that you told her a lie, she turned around and repeated it to others and did so basically instantly, with no confirmation it was true. Your mother sounds like my mom. She likes to stir the pot, cause all kinds of drama, and sit back and watch the show. Your mom will get over it. She doesn't think it's funny because everyone is laughing at her dramatics, and she's embarrassed. Maybe she will learn a little something from all this. Your mother needs to chill. She sounds like a rude, hysterical ass telling everyone your business out of concern. Fuck hysterical mothers like this, and I say that as a grandmother who would never do this sort of crap to my family. I'm just grateful to read, in a single paragraph, both Q and Q used correctly.